Hello and welcome to the Artist Behind the Music Holiday Edition. Today we have Charlie Weber with us from London, Ontario. Welcome, Charlie, to the show.
Hi, thank you so much for having me. I appreciate it.
Yeah, thanks for joining me and excited to hear you play some Christmas music and hear a little bit more about who you are and your story when it comes to music and life. All the good stuff.
Absolutely.
Who you are.
Let's just dig deep into it.
Let's get out the shovels.
Yeah.
So what's got you started in music? I know that's a kind of a typical question, but were you born a singer or a musician, or did you really have to work for it? What was kind of your way to music?
What got me into music? It's really hard to like pinpoint like anything specific, but music, like just listening to music, has always been like a really big thing in my household. My dad has always been like the kind of guy who just looks out for like new music, has never just like dwelled on one era as so many people do when they get older. Like, so him constantly pushing new music on us, always listening to the radio. And then when I was age 11, I watched an episode of The Simpsons where Bart gets a guitar and immediately gives up playing the instrument in like a day. And I thought, hey, I could play guitar. That seems like a thing to do. That was the message I got out of it. So luckily I had a longer attention span than
The Simpsons inspired you.
Yeah, The Simpsons has really been an entire portion of my life that couldn't be described in a small interview.
We'll save that for another chat then. Yeah. Oh, that's excellent. Who would you say some of your biggest inspirations are?
My biggest inspiration, I'd say, is a guy named Frank Turner. He's a folk rock troubadour kind of guy from the UK. I saw him open up for like the California pop punk band, The Offspring once, and he was just an acoustic guitar and a guy singing, and I was just like, it was another one of those moments where I was just like, I could do that, and just like I saw like the energy and like the dedication to what he was doing, the fact that no one could really discern what he was saying because of the sound quality was so bad, but just giving his all the entire time, that was really stuck with me. And so I'd say that's probably my biggest influence. And then you got like your Bruce Springsteens and Tom Petty's and all those people, just like
classics,
playing good music, and just being like, I would love to play good music and want to make more stuff like that, but my own thing.
Cool. Oh, that's awesome. So what would you say is your favorite part about being a musician?
Oh, I really enjoyed touring when that was available to me. It's always nice to go on tour and play and meet random people and get delicious food in cities that you don't get to live in. One of the biggest things that we do when I have my backing band with me is that we make sure that if we're going to Toronto, we're gonna get good food. We're not stopping at McDonald's that day. We're gonna go down to like Koreatown or Chinatown and get something really delicious. And hopefully, like we'll take time off work to get there early enough so we have time to eat something. I've been back and forth across the country, and there's always somewhere good to eat. You don't have to stop at Tim Hortons.
That's right. There's always something good to eat. Do you have a favorite kind of food that you guys typically go after?
I generally try to like look at like the blogs and websites to see what they're saying, but we always lean towards Asian noodles, nice. Noodle houses and stuff like that. If you can get a good bowl of ramen somewhere, that's always a treat.
That's a dream come true for you. Have you ever thought of starting like a blog or a kind of like a traveling blog on food as you're on the road touring?
Yeah, we've thought about it, but instead we just like take Instagram photos and be like, look at the good stuff.
Well, I think Instagram's kind of like the new blog, right?
Yeah.
That's awesome. So you released an album 2018, a couple years ago.
Yeah.
Yeah, tell us about that record and the process of making it and the inspiration behind it.
Yeah, so in 2018, I released my first full-length record called Old Habits, and it's kind of a real mixed bag of songs. It's some parts like indie folk, and then it turns into like pop punk record, and then it turns into like a roots record, and then there's like acoustic jams on it. Like the only thing that we didn't really add to it was like a drum machine. Like it's got so many different things to it. Like and so when we were making that, that was just kind of the culmination of like 2 or 3 years of songs that I was just trying to get out into the world and finally put things under my own name as opposed to like a band name.
And how did you find the transition of, going out on your own as opposed to being in a band, if that's what you were doing previously?
Well, it's weird. It's weird to try to just be like, hey, this is my name and this is what I do, and if you hate this, then it means you hate me, and it's very nerve-wracking to kind of do that and kind of like just believe in yourself in that way. And it's kind of an obstacle that you have to get over, is to just try to believe in yourself more than anyone else could ever possibly believe in you, where you have attached your name to it. So this not only is something you made, but it's a part of you, and then hopefully people enjoy it.
That is so true. Just detaching yourself from hoping that people like you. And if they don't like you, I mean, that doesn't mean or if they don't like your music, sorry, that doesn't mean they don't like you. So do you have ways that you detach from that or separate, any tools that you like to use or imply?
I'm still working on it. It's tough because, especially with the kind of music I write, I'm very autobiographical. So these are just like stories about myself, and put in a way that is hopefully slightly detached from myself, where you add a narrative function to it, so you don't fully feel like you're talking about you. You're like, oh, this is the character, and this is how they reacted to it, or this is how I wish I reacted to it. So it's not really about me, but it is.
Yes. And I think as a performer, you almost have to kind of put on that alter ego hat.
A little bit, yeah.
Yeah.
It's weird because like the person who performs on stage is not the person that sits at home and writes the song. So it's like the performer is an elevated version of yourself, which
Yeah.
makes it which is hard for certain people to understand when they come up to it, and then you were like up and up and up on stage, and then you're just kind of a downer when you get off of stage, and they're like, oh, you're not as much fun.
So after shows, do you like to hang out and talk to the audience, or are you more of like, okay, I did my job, I performed, and now I'm ready to go to bed?
I've been a pretty big advocate for staying till the end of the show, making sure that you see all the bands, even if you're not particularly a fan of them. I think it's really important to kind of be present, because it's a job like anything else, except I only work for like 2 to 3 hours a night as opposed to like a full 8-hour day. So like it's always good to be there. And then when people come see you, I find that firsthand experience of talking with the person who's buying your merchandise, or who is like, oh, I really like your stuff, and you can relate to them in a conversation that sticks with them way more than it hurts you to stay out an extra hour later.
Yeah, it's so true. That connection with the people that come to support you is so important. How have you found this transition in 2020, just, from playing live and touring to, being more in the isolation mode and not having as many live shows, or if any at all, and virtually communicating, connecting, and performing?
It's been weird. 2020's been strange. It was frustrating like all at first, and then it kind of was kind of nice for like a bit, like not having to be stressed out about where you were gonna have your next show. And like there's always this thing where it's like once you've hit March and you haven't booked anything, it's basically the year's over. And you kind of feel like that stress just kind of went away, which was very, very neat. um, a thing that I had also started to, I have a love-hate relationship with the live stream concerts. I did like a decent amount of those right off the hop when everyone was like really jonesing for live music, and I had a good time like doing them for the most part, but the audio quality isn't always the best. And
Mhm.
so when we were doing that, there was a point where people kind of got tired of like the constant influx of cell phone audio, and but I ended up getting like 100 new Facebook followers. So it was just about like learning to reconnect with people in different ways, which was kind of a hurdle that we had to get over, which was neat because I saw in real time the impact that that had.
Yeah, and I think it's so cool how we're able to use technology and pivot and still bring music to people just in a different way. But music is something that's so important to not only musicians but to everybody in the world, because listening to music does something to the body and the mind just as much as, performing it does for an artist, I think. So being able to still provide that to people is important.
Absolutely. Yeah. So we ended up doing like we did like a fully produced, recorded live show for my drummer's last show. He decided that he wanted to move on and go, and he moved up to Kenora, Ontario. So like right, basically Manitoba. So he couldn't make the commute anymore. So we did like a fully produced, live recorded in a recording studio concert, and we sold that as like a ticketed event, and we
Cool.
sent that out, and that had some pretty good response to it as well. I'm starting to see that more, like even with like bigger acts and stuff like that, who are putting out like quality live performances, which is a nice change of pace. Really bridges that gap.
Yeah, just having that quality. I know when we first started doing live streaming, it was a nightmare. Like, just, the internet wouldn't work, or the computer was too slow, or all sorts of, it just wasn't picking up the sound. So we took a lot of time and figured out how to create a studio setting on an internet platform. And I'm so grateful we kind of pivoted and learned how to do that, because it makes a huge difference, creating a show online. And I've kind of turned into a massive bubble girl. So it's
Yeah.
been great for me to still be able to use the internet technology to be able to do those things. So it's great.
Well, like, yeah, I'm an introvert. Like, I like to stay at home like as much as I can. So like,
Yeah.
it wasn't like a big issue. Like, I got really into live or like online video gaming with my friends. So like, it was always like your friends were just like there whenever you wanted them to be, and then you just like turn off the headset and go to bed if you wanted to.
Right. It's interesting. I find a lot of musicians are introverts, and I find that so interesting because from a performance aspect, it looks like, you would think that musicians are mostly
Yeah.
extroverts. So how do you find that kind of balance between being an introvert but doing such an extroverted job?
It's it's almost like I feel like the introvert part is like who I've always been, just kind of like you're quiet, you're doing your things on your own, you're writing songs in your bedroom, which is easy because when I was younger, you didn't get invited to like big parties or whatever, so like you're at home doing whatever.
Yeah.
And then the extroverted persona is kind of you living out those hey, now I throw big parties, so
Yeah.
you're
So it's
welcome.
that I go to them as a kid.
Yeah. But like you, like in my own personal life, I don't think you would ever catch me actually throwing a party for myself. Like it would, that is like a fear that I would have, that like I would throw the party and just nobody would show up. But I've dedicated my entire like career life to throwing parties, hopefully show people showing up.
It's kind of funny. It's ironic,
Yeah.
but yeah.
It's weird how you get there. And
Yeah, it's because of your love of music, I think, is so high that it kind of cancels out that fear, is kind of what happens.
yeah, you either have to cancel the fear, or you're just gonna be a hobbyist for the rest of your life. And then
Totally.
we'll see how that goes for me. We'll see where I am in another 5 years and two pandemics later, and we'll see
Yeah,
how that goes.
we'll see where we're all at in 5 years. So crazy. What are some tools that you use to crush fear?
Crush fear. Ooh, uh, Well, beer always helps.
Beer's
That
good.
that never really fails until you've done too much.
Yeah.
But just practice. It's all practice. Like performance and confidence. Those are all things that are practiced, and I think that's just like something that everyone eventually learns along the way. Just growing up, where it's like you're never gonna get that promotion, or you're never gonna meet the love of your life if you don't have your own kind of confidence. You don't drum up or push down that fear, or use that fear in a constructive way. Uh, so performance and stuff, if you practice the shit out of it, like you're gonna play it well. And if you're too scared after that, then might not be for you.
Then maybe there's another direction.
Yeah.
And that's
You
a
just go into songwriting, or you can go into other parts. There's so many other things you can do in music other than performing. Performing is just my most favorite part, really.
yeah. No, I hear you. And how do you balance kind of being a musician and running your own business and, you know, all the pieces that come with being a musician? How do you balance it all with life in general?
Oh, you you basically just have to really put things on the back burner. If you don't, at least in my experience, it's kind of like if there's something that you really want and you really think is worth it, then you're gonna have to push yourself to do whatever is possible to get that. If that's so I work a job I don't particularly enjoy, but it allows me a lot of free time off whenever I feel like it. I can take a month off from that job and come back after 31 days and pick up where I left off. Like that's not an issue for me. The job isn't fun, but the benefits out of that have been helpful. I can go on a month-long tour if I feel like it, but that's kind of how it gets balanced. You can dedicate yourself completely to one thing, and then you have to like half-ass the rest of it.
Right.
But if you're gonna get if you're gonna enjoy your life more by full-assing that one thing, then it's worth it at that point, for me at least.
Yeah, and I think yeah, absolutely. We all have different ways we go through things and deal with things and balance things. So I always just find it interesting, what different people do to create that balance because being a musician is not maybe not the easiest route to take sometimes for people and we need to find tools to be able to live our passion that we love and still make sure everything's taken care of and moving forward, right? So yeah, you're
And
very
I think that people would also be surprised with like the kind of just paperwork that you have to do as a musician. It sounds like you're going to be partying all the time, but you have to like fill out like contracts, and you have to make sure that you have everyone in your band's going to be there. You got to do money management skills. Like you got to find your own personal rent versus as well as jam space rental on top of that. And so like it's a lot of work. It's a lot of work when you have to do that. So trying to balance it is a full-time job in itself.
It is for sure. But yeah, just as long as you can keep moving forward with following your passion, your love, and staying happy and healthy and keeping things balanced, I think is very, very important. Very important.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Okay. Well, I'm excited to hear you play. If you're ready to rock for us, I'm ready to listen.
Yeah. Awesome. Yeah. The first song I'm going to play is my Christmas tune. I wrote this song with a friend of mine, Julia Haggerty. We wrote it through the city of London. They were deciding that they wanted to showcase the new stuff that the library had to offer. They have like recording studios at the London Central Public Library.
That's cool.
Yeah. So they were like, let's get some artists together. Let's write some Christmas songs. So we wrote the song kind of just like in a day. We kind of like channeled a Hallmark movie kind of theme. And so it's called Don't Tell Me It's Christmas. And it's basically a story about two people who are in a relationship together, but they're far away from each other. One is in Tennessee and the other one's back in Canada. And
today's times.
Yeah. All right, so here we go. Don't Tell Me It's Christmas. Don't tell me it's Christmas. I already know. I got a feeling that the season's greetings will leave me out in the cold. And don't tell me it's Christmas. There's cheer all around. If I got my wish, then my Christmas gift would be under the tree right now. So I'll sing Merry Christmas, baby. I want you to come home. I'm here thinking about you. I'd really like to know. Are snowflakes falling where you are? Fire keep you warm. Because a holiday without you is no holiday at all. And don't tell me it's Christmas. I already know. Don't wanna be stuck in Tennessee, way too far from home. You can call me crazy, I never thought I'd miss the snow. And I hope you got my letter soon, we'll be together in that old familiar glow. So I'll sing Merry Christmas, baby. I want to come home. I'm here thinking about you, and I'd really like to know. A chestnut's roasting where you are. Does fire keep you warm? Because a holiday without you is no holiday at all. And I just left a message. I can't stop listening. This season feels so lonely. It's missing just one thing. So Merry Christmas, baby. I want to come home. I'm here thinking about you, and I'd really like to know. So Merry Christmas, baby. Won't you please come home? I'm here thinking about you, and I'd really like to know. A snowflake's falling, chestnuts roasting, does fire keep you warm? Because a holiday without you is no holiday at all. Because a holiday without you is no holiday at all.
Yeah, that's a sad Christmas song.
Well, we wanted to kind of look into the old time Christmas songs where they're all wartime, and so it was always people writing from long distance away, like White Christmas. I'm dreaming of White Christmas, and someone across the ocean being like, "Man, I wish it would snow here. I wish I could go home." And
I like that the sad aspect to it. I mean, it's hopeful sad, right?
For the most part, the sad portions were me, and then Julia made the hopeful parts.
Oh. Oh, it's a beautiful song though. So you recorded that at the London Library.
Yeah, so we did the demoing there, and then we ended up having to do some extra stuff later on. But for the most part, we got most of that song written and recorded at the London Public Library.
That's cool. I love that. Yeah. I love that they have that supporting live music and recording music. That's amazing. Very cool.
No, it's really nice to just have them kind of open up the floodgates, get rid of the gatekeepers and allow people, if you want to learn, it's there for you.
Yeah.
Which is super cool.
It is really cool. I love it. There's so much education out there that is free, and opportunity that is free when you search for it. And there's so many people that just want to help people.
Absolutely. Yeah.
Go out there and look for it, right? Because there's just so much.
Mm-hmm.
Love it. All right. Well, what else are you going to sing for us today?
So I have another song. So that one was called Don't Tell Me It's Christmas. That's on Spotify for anyone who wants to listen to it over their Christmas holidays. Charlie Weber, Julia Haggerty. You can find that there. This song is also on Spotify. It's called Wait and Worry. It's on my debut record, Old Habits, which is available to you on Spotify and Apple Music. And you can buy it on vinyl and CD, and I'll probably send it to you. I've sent records as far as Madrid, Spain, so I could probably get something to someone.
I think so. Well, that makes a great Christmas gift.
Yeah, and it helps me out a lot. It helps me get my internet back up and running. Yeah, so if you would like to help along, there's a sing-along, dance-along part that ended up being put together by my backing band. So it goes, there's a bridge and it goes, "This is not, you are not, this is not what I had thought. This is not what I had planned." And if you can figure that out,
I'll do my best.
It's a lot. I usually have 3 or 4 people behind me helping people along. So we'll see how it goes. Okay. So this is not, you are not, this is not what I had thought. This is not what I had planned.
Okay, I'll try.
And if everyone who's watching would like to do that as well, it's the crowd experience that you've been missing.
I like this a lot.
Yeah. All right. So this song's called "Wait and Worry." It's about a night I spent in Toronto when I probably should have been sleeping. My heart breaks for you. You never find the kind of love you get to keep. And I can't relate to you, 'cause you're sitting in the same boat as me. It's hard, but I'm trying to be the better man that you want me to be. And I'm sleeping across town. You wish that I was someone else. And I'm trying hard to fake this smile, make you understand. This is not what I had planned. Now it was last July, the first time I told you that I ever felt this alive. You gave me the hardest time, but I woke up thinking that maybe things would be alright. That's where our hearts collide. Put your weight and worry and everything else to the side. And you're sleeping across town. You wish that I was someone else. And I'm trying hard to make this smile, make you understand. This is not what I had planned. Alright, here comes the dance song. Goes, this is not, and you are not. No, this is not what I had thought. This is not what I had planned. 1, 2, 3, and this is not, you are not. This is not what I had thought. This is not what I had planned. I can hear today what you used to say, how your hair would move when you'd start to sing. That same damn line by the Counting Crows. And I wonder if you knew how it got to me. Well, I never believed in love, but if you're offering, I'd like to be someone who believes. And sleeping across town. You wish that I was someone else. And I'm trying on to make this smile and make you understand. This is not what I had planned. No, this is not what I had planned.
So fun. Great song. I like that a lot. And I
Thank
love
you.
interactive songs. I just
Yeah.
love being able to dance and move. And when artists, create something that the crowd can do together, I think is beautiful. So,
Yeah, no, it's always been kind of like a thing. Like my ultimate goal is to get people to move and enjoy the evening, kind of stop them from being rigid while they're at this wild event. Uh, my goal every time I go somewhere is to get them to do a circle pit, and if I can get a circle pit, that's the dream. A wall of death is always adequate. At least jumping and clapping is mandatory.
absolutely. And I think, movement is medicine. And when we go out to shows, to just stand there and watch takes the fun out of it. You got to move.
Absolutely, yeah.
Good, right? Even
Always drives me nuts.
from your home,
Yeah, always drives me nuts with the cross arm, straight face
right?
guy having the time of his life.
Yeah, leaning against the bar.
Yeah.
Oh, it's been so great having you on the show. I love chatting with you and hearing more about your story, and your songs are great. I do love that Christmas song. I love original Christmas music. So always brings a smile to my face, even if it's sad. It's great.
Well, thank you so much. Really appreciate it for having me on. Uh, Highlight of the week. There you go.
Oh, good. Excellent. Well, I always like to end with this question. If you had one message to share with the world, what would that be?
Ooh, one message to share with the world, I would say, find something you're passionate about and just do it. Like there's no one's gonna do it for you. Like that's really the message that I like to bring up to people. People ask me all the time, well, how'd you get started? How do you get booked here? And I just be like, you just have to do it. There's no one's gonna hold your hand, and people will help you along the way, but no one's gonna put you in the position that you want to be in. You have to do that for yourself.
So true. So true. Good advice. Good message. I like that a lot. Cool. Well, Charlie, thanks again so much for joining us on The Artist Behind the Music. You guys can check out Charlie Weber at his website, which is
Charlie-Weber.ca.
excellent. We'll post that in the comments below as well. Thanks so much. Happy holidays, and we'll chat with you again soon.